What's going on, Bulldog Nation? Welcome back to another video, man. It's your boy 2 times here once again for your entertainment, man. Today, guys, you can see by the title and thumbnail, we're gonna be watching creepy and scary TikToks. That's for sure gonna shake your socks off your feet before you go to sleep. Sheesh. Without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Spark the blunt. We out.
Does anyone want to tell me how in 1927 Universal Studios came up with this picture of the world?
Man.
When the first picture of the world wasn't available until the 1960s through NASA?
Ooh.
Almost 40 years later?
Ooh.
How did Universal Studios know that this is what the world looked like? Especially from space, when we hadn't been to space yet. Does anyone know?
Nope.
Anyone want to guess?
Nope.
I was at my weekly Illuminati meeting. I was sitting next to Beyonce and Jay-Z, and all of a sudden my boy Spade walked in right after Drake walked in. I was like, yo, Drake, move your little bitch ass somewhere else. I gotta talk to Spade real quick. And then we burned 2 truckloads of money and did some devil prayers. I sacrificed 4 goats, 3 chickens, and 1 sheep. And then we just, chopped it up, whatever. We was like, hey, be in this video, bitch. We went to catch, had some lobsters with chicken blood. I still have the t-shirt with the chicken blood on it.
What is the government so afraid of?
What?
The U.S. Navy sets off a 40,000-pound bomb in the Atlantic Ocean, 100 miles from the coast of Florida, saying that it was only a military exercise. However, looking at the footage of the explosion, it definitely didn't seem like a regular military exercise. Furthermore, it's known that there are unknown creatures or aliens living deep in the ocean. So, could it be possible that it wasn't a military exercise, but a cover-up to take out a deadly threat in the ocean?
Probably.
With this suspicious military exercise, many are asking,
this must be the proof that the moon landing was filmed in a studio. Have you ever noticed that the flag planted by Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin on the moon appears to be waving? However, there's no atmosphere on the moon, meaning no wind. So, how is this possible? I must disappoint the conspiracy theorists again, as there's a very simple explanation for this theory too. The flag doesn't move due to wind, but only when the astronauts touched and planted it in the ground. Here's the explanation. On Earth, the atmosphere quickly dampens such light vibrations. However, on the moon, without an atmosphere, vibrations persist longer. Additionally, a horizontal rod was used to stretch the flag, creating the illusion of it waving. All right, I've pretty much explained every moon landing conspiracy theory.
No.
Which conspiracy theory would you like to explore next?
They're not
I believe that
prosthetics.
shit.
They're my bones. They come out when I'm inspired. They've always been inside of me. But I have been waiting for the right time to reveal to the universe who I truly am. Lady Gaga. My placenta. My mum found in my basement, crushed up, and made into a necklace that I wear every day to improve my psychic abilities. Kasha.
No way. What the? Bro, all the demon stuff, bro. These celebrities, man.
I used to have a folder called Demons that had pictures with all the screen caps in it. But then weird things started happening to me, so I deleted it.
Oh, no.
Ariana Grande.
Oh, nah. That's sus. That's sus. That's
I
scary.
love the smell of diapers. I even like when they're wet, and you smell them all warm like a baked good. Sarah Jessica Parker.
That's disgusting.
This video was posted 3 years ago. Now, I'm not gonna say what I really want to say because TikTok will take me down for integrity and authenticity. But all I'm gonna say is, it's not a coincidence.
The Pentagon is using high-altitude balloons to conduct surveillance tests in the Midwestern states of South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Missouri, and Illinois, according to documents from the Federal Communication Commission. The Guardian reports the surveillance balloons are carrying small satellite-like vehicles with synthetic aperture radars, sensors, and communications equipment.
Sensors.
The surveillance balloons travel at altitudes of up to 65,000 feet and are used to track vehicles via the synthetic radars in all kinds of weather.
That's crazy. That's higher than planes. Planes only go 30,000 miles high. Feet. 30,000 feet, my bad.
The Guardian reports that the balloons use an advanced mesh networking technologies, which allows them to share data and communicate with one another.
That's scary,
70s,
man.
the government has been replacing birds with bird drones to spy on us. There is a staggering amount of evidence to support this, and by the end of this documentary, you will also be convinced that birds aren't real.
I be feeling
Have you
it.
ever
I
seen a
felt that
baby
way
pigeon?
before by myself.
Ever? You probably haven't because they don't exist. But if they did exist, surely someone has seen a baby pigeon, right? So we decided to go to the streets to find out for ourselves. Have you ever seen a baby pigeon?
No.
Have any of you seen a baby pigeon ever?
No, I don't think so.
I have not, no. Have you ever seen a baby pigeon? Actually, I haven't. That is kind of sketchy now that I think about it.
Have you ever seen a baby pigeon?
No, I have not. You know, I've wondered about that too. Have you ever seen a baby pigeon before?
Me too.
I don't know. I don't think I have, actually.
Have you ever seen a baby pigeon?
Yes, I have, yeah. In Bangkok. On my porch. On the balcony.
Do you by chance work for the government?
Yes, I do.
Coincidence? But that's not the only unsettling question. In fact, there are a whole slew of questions that don't seem to have any answers. For example, have you ever been successful at touching a wild bird? Of course you haven't. Every time you go up to touch one...
Do you know why Prince, the famous rock star that was a friend of mine, do you know why he called himself the artist when he came back? He calls himself the artist because that's what they call us in our contracts. Oh, these contracts are crazy. You should hear the terminology they say in these contracts. To use your name and likeness in perpetuity throughout the universe. Who the fuck could possibly know what that means? Nobody does.
Do you agree with what he is saying? Could there be a darker side to these contracts that these artists sign, or is Dave Chappelle making it up? TikTok, this is for entertainment purposes only.
It's so complicated, in fact, that when you're a kid like me, you have to hire somebody to tell you what that means. And you sit down at a table and you do the contract game. And that's how I got with Comedy Central. I signed the contract. But I signed the contract the way that a 28-year-old expectant father that was broke signs a contract. I was desperate. I needed a way out, and it wasn't good money, and it wasn't good circumstances, but what else am I going to do, I said. And all these white people sitting at that table told me, trust us, Dave, it's a good contract. And I looked around the table, and they all seemed to agree it was a good contract. But what if it was like that game of three-card Monte? What if they were all friends and I didn't know it?
We look at their rockets. This is how they claim they get into outer space, is these rockets. Their rockets never go straight up. Every single rocket launch from a government space agency, you'll notice, follows a parabolic curve. It goes up, it reaches a peak, but what they do is as the rocket starts coming back down, they make sure that it goes down over the ocean, out of the way of any curious observers. Anyone can see it coming back down to Earth, asks, hey, how come the rocket's not going up anymore? Well, it's going around the curvature of the Earth, is what they tell us. So every single rocket, the reason that it follows a parabolic curve, they say, is because it's going around the curvature of the Earth. The real reason is they can't get up any higher than that.
That's crazy. Look at that. Wow.
They tell us that the Earth is a sphere. They show us pictures of a sphere, of a circle. It's a perfect circle. And then they come out and they say, well, it's actually an oblate spheroid. Oh, what's that? Well, it's a sphere that's flattened at both poles, so it's more of an oval shape. It actually bulges out south of the equator, as well as being flattened at the poles. So it's more pear-shaped.
So it's not actually a sphere. It's oblate. And officially it's an oblate spheroid. That's what we call it. But not only that, it's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator. A little chubbier. A little chubbier. Yeah. Chubby's a good word. It's like pear-shaped.
So now it's pear-shaped. So why are all of these official NASA photos and videos showing perfect spheres when it's actually an oblate spheroid or a pear-shaped spheroid? They can't get their story straight. The reason they keep changing it is that to fit the model, they have to change the shape of the Earth. South of the equator is larger than north of the equator because lines of longitude, they just extend outwards. They don't contract back. So they concede that in their pair model. They say, well, the sun, it bulges out south of the equator. It's bigger south of the equator. Yeah, it is, because it's flat. But instead of admitting that, they just, make tweaks to their model as time goes on. They say that the ball Earth tilts back 23.5 degrees. That's another tweak they made because we can see Polaris, which is right over the North Pole, from 23.5 degrees south latitude. Shouldn't be able to see that on a ball. So they just tilt the Earth back, and then okay, now you can see it. And so they come up with explanations in reverse like this, damage control, reverse engineered explanations.
That's crazy, man.
You're not even ready to imagine the craziness we're in right now.
They try to poison
Antarctica
you, man.
is the most mysterious continent in the world. A new theory is so crazy that it could completely change your perception of the Earth. According to this theory, Antarctica is not just a massive ice continent, but rather an enormous ice wall that surrounds all the continents. In 1992, a new world map was created, the Gleason map, which shows Antarctica encircling all our continents. This theory goes even further. Some believe that if we manage to cross this wall, we will encounter numerous other continents deliberately hidden from us by governments.
Jesus Christ, the Adam and Eve video, how much of that is agreed upon? That there could be a time where the magnetic poles actually shift?
This is science. They say that the last one was like 778,000 years ago, and we're like something like 200,000 years overdue. But the Adam and Eve story, the theory of that is that it happens in cycles of 6,500 years, and that it's a 90-degree flip, but 6 days later, or on the 7th day, it corrects itself. The planet flips. Correct. It's a planet flip, 90-degree, and that because of it, the Earth essentially does a standstill. The sun will basically stay in the same spot, causing heating like we've never experienced, and that the wind and the waters continue with their momentum. So the theory is that when that event happens, it's going to be cataclysmic. And here's the wild thing, is that in that document it says a continental-sized tsunami being 2 miles high. Well, I showed you the Emikusi volcano in Africa, in the Sahara, which is at 11,300 feet, that has salt as well as evidence of gastropods, sea lice.
2 miles high.
Yes. Sergeant Rick Schiff, I'm an 11-year veteran of the San Francisco Police Department. I hold the department's highest Medal of Honor for bravery. That used to mean a lot more to me than it does now. What I'd like to talk to you about today is my now 7-year-old daughter. This is an identical twin. Her sister is now dead. Her sister, when she was 4 years old, Kristen, developed a highly malignant brain tumor that had spread throughout her spine and her brain. The doctors told us that we had really 2 options: take her home, let her die, or bring her in for massive dosages of chemo and radiation simultaneously. In either event, she was going to die. They were quite certain of that, and very quickly. Believing her only chance to be the standard route, we gave her the chemo and radiation. It burned her skull so bad she had 2nd-degree burns and her hair never came back. To change her diapers, we had to wear rubber gloves because her urine was so toxic and it burned her. At the end of 6 months, miraculously, she survived the standard treatment, although there was a high expectation she wouldn't. She still had cancer. We were told, sorry, we've done everything we can. Now she's going to die, probably within a couple of months. My wife and I, choosing not to accept that, started reading. The first book I picked up, the 3rd chapter, discussed Dr. Brzezinski. As you may guess, I have some expertise in fraud. In fact, I'm quite certain there are enough attorneys in the room that I could be vordeered as an expert in fraud. And I conducted my own investigation. I have no doubt the man is not a fraud. I have no doubt that he does what he does out of earnest belief that his medicine works. And now you're in a position to judge for yourselves whether it works or not. But it's well established by the FDA that it's non-toxic. 18 months later, we took my daughter off the anti-neoplastin. She had not died. She had no signs of tumor. She remained free for 18 months of cancer. Within a month, the cancer was widespread in her brain. We put her back on Brzezinski's. By the way, at the objections of our doctors, for some reason felt that it had failed her. We put her back on. Within 9 weeks, the tumor was completely gone. She died last July of neurological necrosis. Her brain fell apart from the radiation. The autopsy showed that she was completely cancer-free. Out of 52 cases of that disease ever, no one died cancer-free, just Chrissy. So she didn't die of a terminal illness. She died of my inability to care for her properly, and she died from bad advice. She died because there's a government institution that disseminates false information and is not looking out for the welfare of the people. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I swore an oath 11 years ago, and I think most of us in this room swore it at one time or another, to uphold the Constitution. It says life right in the beginning.
Damn, man.
Your
your straw man.
Shit right there.
He was born the same day you were. He looks like you, has the same name, and lives in your house, but you never knew he existed. You will have even paid his parking tickets or taxes. The worst part? He's been dead from day one. From every birth certificate, a legal personality, or legal fiction, is created with the same name to confuse little old you into thinking it's you. So, there is a human you and a paper you, or as it's commonly known, a straw man. So when it seems like government officials, court clerks, or the police are speaking English, they aren't. They're speaking legalese, designed to make you agree to verbal and written contracts without even knowing about it, all spun from Black's Law Dictionary. For example, when the police say, "Do you understand?" you'll say, "Yes." What they are really saying is, "Do you stand under our authority?" Oops-a-daisy, you just created a verbal contract with them. Oh, you clever government. Did you know that whenever you register something, you are handing over title to the person you register it with? That's right. Whenever you register something with the government, they assume it belongs to them. Registered your car? Super! Now you are the registered keeper of your vehicle, and the government can crush it when you don't pay your, straw man's taxes. Expecting a new bundle of joy? Well, then you need to register your little darling with a birth certificate. Then they can start the process all over again and create a new straw man for your little one. Isn't that great? So when Junior grows up, he'll be able to generate revenue just like you have. When you notify on your baby by signing the birth certificate, your child becomes a ward of state. And if the government doesn't like what you're doing, they'll assume it's okay to take the child away or make new rules for things they don't like. Not enough school? Smacking your child? Shouting too loudly? And it's off to social services for the little one. When you get a bill, it's sent to you, but belongs to your straw man, not you. That's why bills, fines, and summons start with Mr., Mrs., or Ms. Sometimes you'll see your surname in capitals, just like on a gravestone. That's because your straw man is dead and just a silly piece of paper, created before you could comprehend or even consent to it. When you go to court, you represent your straw man. So you, the human, take on any costs, fees, taxes, and fines involved for the straw man. The human you doesn't even need to pay them. But you made a contract with the court by appearing on behalf of your legal personality or straw man, just like the government knew you would. Confused? Well, don't worry. The government doesn't want you to know anyway. If you knew, you'd stop paying things like council tax and parking tickets. Because when you go to court, you are representing your straw man. You are you, alive and made of flesh and blood. Your straw man or legal personality is a piece of paper created from your birth certificate. And you think it's you. What a silly Billy.
What a silly Billy, huh? Well, man, we can't even, I mean, not that we can, but how do you really go around that? Like, how do you fix that situation? You feel me? Like, you can't even talk to somebody who would, like, properly get you through everything and do it for you the right way and not get you caught up or try to get more money out of you. Because, you know what I'm saying, that's the world we live in, sadly. But anyway, man, I do hope you guys did enjoy those videos, man. This shit was interesting as fuck, you know what I'm saying? A little creepy, too, because the motherfuckers is crazy in there, like, man. I do hope you guys did enjoy though, man. If you did, drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts, any ideas, you know what I'm saying, for the next video. And subscribe to the channel, man. You already know the vibe. Subscribe for more videos just like this. And I'll see you guys next time. We out.